So I'm not like promoting Dogecoin, or I'm not promoting crypto. You know, you can come up with your own conclusions regarding that stuff. But I know I was talking about being a stock market investor, you know, during my keynote speech over at the FBLA conference, and some kids were asking me about it after. And I don't put a lot of money in it at all, really, honestly. I mean, I have a consistent amount. You have to assess your risk tolerance, but in regards to Dogecoin, I'm willing to hold that till the end of time. I'm willing to hold that until it goes to zero, if it goes to zero. I'm not scared because I didn't invest a lot of money in the first place. I put a portion of money in that you have to be 100% okay losing it, especially if you don't know anything about the digital asset. So really, it's not a good coin at all, based on what I've learned about it. You get 10,000 more Dogecoins put into like digital circulation every minute or so, or every hour. I don't know the exact time frame. And there was a lot of hype and mania around it, which is a red flag. You know, the fact that it was, you know, on mainstream media, like, what value does it actually have? It's entertaining and that's it. So you got to understand what you're buying. If you understand what you're buying to any extent, then you can be okay with the risk. That's how it goes for stocks too. What's under the hood? What is under the hood of the company? You're not just buying these arbitrary little price points on your phone like a game. It's not a game. You're buying ownership into a company. And so what does the company actually do? Is it financially healthy? You know, what's going to be your basis? Why are you buying it? It's an entrepreneurial action to buy a stock in a company. It doesn't mean you're an entrepreneur, but you're willing to put your economic value into the hands of this team of people that you can't even really get in touch with. I mean, obviously if you're buying a retail store like Apple, but actually understand what you're buying. And I'm gonna hold the Dogecoin. I'll hold the Dogecoin forever, because if it does go to zero, if I continually watch that price go down and I continually am reminded of that loss of economic value, I'm gonna never forget that lesson. And I can afford to learn that lesson because I didn't put a lot of money in, but I'm always gonna see those percentages going down. And if I can be mentally strong, because you have to have the correct temperament to buy these things, you can't have this gambling mindset, then, you know, what was I gonna go with that point? You can't be a gambler, but because I'm gonna hold it till the end of time, you know, theoretically, I still stand the chance of having it go up in value again. And when it does go up in value, if it does pass that threshold and starts to become green again, I start to have a gain, then you have to ask yourself, well, how much further is it going to go up? You have to assess it against the rises in other assets, other cryptos, stocks, what's going on. So it's a really complicated, it doesn't have to be complicated, but it takes a portion of your time. So you have to have the discipline to say to yourself, you need to earn your own right, academically speaking, to buy anything. I'm not buying any of these stocks until I read the annual report once. For those of you that know about the annual reports, you know, I used to have that background in, you know, public accounting. But if you're not willing to do that, why should you put any of your money into anything except yourself? Like, invest in yourself. This whole thing comes down to investing. What are you going to invest in? You can invest in yourself. You can take $300 and buy a course in stock market investing, real estate, or for me, fitness. Like, buy something that you're going to get immediate value and make yourself your own company. Make yourself your own value producer for society. So these are the things you want to think about. Are you going to take $20? I don't think you'll even take $1 and throw it into, you're going to take $1 and throw it into a hole where there's potentially a meat grinder and you'll never get that dollar back. That's ridiculous. You're going to take that $1 and go buy a chocolate milk instead, because that's going to give you immediate value. So you're never taking your money and putting into something that you haven't given yourself any education on, and there's a chance you'll never get it back. Any investment, you may never get your money back, but you can hedge against that risk by educating yourself on what you're buying so that you're comfortable riding the ups and downs of the price, which is superficial sometimes, and understanding how to actually get what a company's worth and things like that. Bitcoin, for example, to me, is a way more valuable, even though it's $38,000 per Bitcoin. You can buy the fractionals. Again, I think you should research what cryptos are, but it's this virtual digital thing that you can buy. You can never get a physical piece of it until you actually sell and get your money back from it. But it's just like the internet. It's this virtual thing that you can see on a screen. You can't actually touch it, but it has all this value. You can create websites, right? Well, the Bitcoin, if you do any little bit of research on it, it actually works a lot like our databases used to work in the audit field. When a worker inputs their data or their findings into our database, the database then replicates, and your changes get input to the whole system in sort of this layering type thing. So you can kind of go back sometime. I don't know if you could go back, but there's a record, an unerasable record of what's happened. And that's basically what Bitcoin is, because it's this network. It's this decentralized network where the more people that get involved, the more valuable it becomes. And there's no real way to fudge it, because one computer, like when one transaction is done, like there's tons of computers in the world that will validate it. And obviously this takes a lot of energy and there's controversy there, but I'm just explaining how it works based on my understanding. And there's only gonna ever be 21 million if it works as it says it works. If you actually read the white paper, the 9-page or so explanation of how the program, how this computer program, it's a computer program, is created, there will only ever be 21 million, right? So it's finite. It's fundamentally a digital gold. And I like precious metals too. Like there's, precious metals, any element on this earth is finite, I think, right now. Like, there's no way to really produce more of an element out of thin air. I don't think that we've come up with the way to put atoms together to create the molecules for elements or things. I don't know. Maybe you can fact check me on that, but to my knowledge, we can't do that yet. So it's just like it's a digital element. So think of all these things before you go buying, a crypto. What is the crypto? And don't get caught up in the hype and the mania. Like, there's a lot of information out there. But what actually makes sense? What can you read? What can you read and understand? And that's the main point. And you're not really ever gonna miss out. I mean, there's these things like NFTs also, and digital real estate. The metaverse. These things are. I don't understand NFTs. Someone else might, but the metaverse. If you don't know what the metaverse is, it's virtual reality, and one day that's gonna really change the way business is done and make it a lot more efficient, I think. I don't think the metaverse should be this thing to replace our going outside and having fun and actually enjoying nature. That I'll stop there in my support of it. But if you have no understanding of what the metaverse is, there's companies out there that are going to get involved. Every company will probably get involved with it. Every multinational company will probably get involved with it, because they're going to want to have that in-person interaction. And the way to get that is going to be to put the helmet on or sit in a chair, just like Star Wars, and just literally see the holograms of your coworkers in another country almost in the same room. And I think it'll get there one day for sure, because the business world is going to always take things that make life more efficient, because that's going to drive down the costs down the line, down to the bottom line. So, all the things that you like your Nike sneakers, you like your Apple iPhones, you like all this stuff, these companies that are all over the world, they're all going to be affected by it. So, owning little pieces of the company, own your piece of the pie in the companies you like, can be a great way to be involved, because whether or not the price goes up, I can't tell you. Whether or not the companies will ever give dividends, I can't tell you. You're always going to want to, gain a little bit. No one wants to lose. But obviously the companies like Facebook, you know, obviously they're controversial right now, but the ones that, you know, there's a lot of young companies that are up and coming who are getting involved with the metaverse. But I'm really going off now on this, and the whole idea is, you know, I only really want to buy assets that are generating value back to me. And anything you buy, anything you buy in the grocery store is giving you value back. Like, you got to buy food. Food is an asset. It's a consumable asset. My phone is an asset. I use it for business, so you need a phone. But these things that aren't going to go away anytime soon, those are the kind of companies you want to look at. My shoes I got on, my Nikes, they're an asset. You know, how much more innovation they can provide, like how much more fancy can you make a shoe? I don't know. But what companies are going to be innovative? What's going to change the landscape? But also what's not going to change? You know, these might be safer areas to put your money. And assess your risk. How old are you? Don't put all your money somewhere, because I've heard horror stories of friends putting $1,000 into something, and then when it starts going down, they think it's a good idea to sell it. That's the dumbest thing. I'm sorry to be blunt. It's the dumbest thing you can do. You don't want to sell something if it's down out of panic. If you got to the point where it's panic, then you put too much money in the first place. And so you have to put the amount of money in you're willing. So when you don't ever lose money. You don't lose money until you sell something at a loss. So you don't buy things that you're going to be afraid they get so low that, all right, I'm going to sell it now because it's low and cut my losses. Don't ever feel like you have to educate yourself and be comfortable with the risk, and you'll never feel like you have to sell at a loss. That's it.